Ramela, here are the stories we're tracking for you this evening. Government acknowledges that high food prices and job losses are likely as the drought intensifies. A dark weekend ahead in parts of Ekurhuleni as several substations catch fire. Of course, you can have a say on any of our stories. Do find us on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct. Our hashtags this evening are drought and Benoni. To that top story now, and prepare yourself for spiraling food prices and job losses in the agricultural sector. That's the message from government during an update on the drought today. Despite the gloomy outlook, they are adamant it's not yet a national crisis.
The big picture: thousands of farmers unable to feed their livestock or plant crops, millions of cattle and sheep at risk, and towns running dry. 5 provinces have already been declared drought disaster areas: KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, the Free State, the Northwest and Mpumalanga. And now parts of the Eastern Cape are also looking desperate. The ministers and MECs acknowledge that the economy is taking a massive knock.
Planned sectorial achievements on priority areas will not be accomplished as planned because food and feed grain prices will surge, debt levels and job losses.
The government and the private sector have been working hard to support drought-stricken areas. Their joint effort continues and intensifies, with the Industrial Development Corporation offering soft loans to help farmers.
We are improving and hopefully farmers themselves will know that there's support that government is giving to them, and then themselves they will be proactively following up on the attempts that government is making.
Despite this grim picture, authorities say this is nowhere near a national crisis, as certain agricultural areas are not experiencing drought. The recent rainfalls have been welcomed, but it's too early to say whether it will be enough to save the situation. Sikelelwa Mdingi, Pretoria.
It could be a dark weekend ahead for parts of Ekurhuleni. Last night, 3 power substations caught fire near Benoni. It could take as long as 5 days to restore power.
The Rainfield substation was the first to catch fire in the early hours on Friday morning. It was soon followed by several others in Crystal Park. Benoni, Rainfield, Fairleads, Crystal Park, Ebutsi, Davidson, Chief Albert Luthuli Park, Cloverdene and surrounding areas are among those affected.
What we are doing, we're going to bring back power in stages. The repairs that we are doing now all going well. By tomorrow we expect 70% of the load to be back on. And then in 3 to 5 days, we expect 100% availability of supply in the area.
Authorities say they don't know what caused the fire. Engineers have been assessing the extent of the damage and say if the main substation needs to be replaced, it could cost millions. Lindwes Tole, Benoni.
Now, it looks like yet another race row is brewing. The ANC has slammed DA MP Anshan Dreyer for attending an event honoring Paul Kruger. The event was hosted by Trade Union Solidarity in October last year. Dreyer posed for pictures next to a cardboard cutout of the former South African Republican president. The ANC says Kruger was a ruthless racist and bloodthirsty colonial-era ruler who presided over the mass killings and torture of black communities. Dreyer believes the ANC is overreacting.
I find it quite ridiculous. It's actually laughable that the ANC is now trying to pin a certain label on me because of this event and my attendance there, and this picture was Paul Kruger. It actually shows that they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel now with the issue to try and blow up racism and put people against each other. This is really ridiculous, and I think it's just an effort on their side to steer away and distract attention from problems, major problems in our society like joblessness, unemployment.
Meanwhile, the ANC Youth League today accused the Democratic Alliance of not doing enough to stamp out racism. Earlier this week, DA leader Musi Maimane called on party members to make an anti-racism pledge. However, the Youth League says the opposition is too soft on racists in its ranks.
marching on the Democratic Alliance's offices in Cape Town. The ANC Youth League is accusing DA leader Musi Maimane of brushing over the problems in his party. The marchers say the DA isn't doing enough by making its members take an anti-racism pledge. They're demanding the official opposition takes a stronger stance against racism.
If the DA is serious racism,
if the DA is serious about dealing with racism, why is it that its members, with the likes of Kola Barnard, are still part of it? That they just forgiven her? And that Penny Sparrow, all they did was to just suspend her. The DA is basically a home for racists. It's full of racists. Helen Zille herself is the ultimate racist.
But the DA says the Youth League has got its facts wrong and that the party doesn't tolerate racists.
Penny Sparrow's membership has been terminated. We acted against that swiftly and effectively. With Diane Kola Barnard, there was a ruling from the FLC where she did face sanction. She did face sanction. She lost positions in the party, and she's going to live with the consequences of having brought the party into disrepute.
Down with racism, down! The Youth League handed over a memorandum of complaints to the DA. It says the anti-racism march is the start of many to come. Tim Tongana, Cape Town.
Well, let's focus on to world news now, when the eastern United States is scrambling to prepare for a massive snowstorm due this weekend. At least 4 states have declared emergencies. Over a dozen others have been warned of extreme weather affecting millions of people. Snowfalls have already been blamed for 3 deaths. The Somali capital of Mogadishu is reeling after an attack by militants that's left at least 20 people dead. The Al-Shabaab gunmen detonated 2 car bombs outside a beachfront restaurant. They then stormed the building. They were engaged in a gun battle with government troops for hours. Let's take a look at what's happening on social media. I'm joined by Gareth Edwards now, and nothing dry about conversations on social media this afternoon, even though government is trying to make plans about the drought.
Ironically, it was all about dry conversations this afternoon. Dudu, thank you very much indeed. The 2 big trends we're watching this afternoon, #drought, a late runner in trending topics this afternoon. Actually, this after government briefs the country on how it's managing the situation. Millions of people have been set to assist affected farmers, millions of rands that is, but people on Twitter saying it's going to hurt their wallets when the price of food escalates in months to come. And then this man, certainly the toast of South African cricket at the moment, Stephen Cook, the son of former Test player Jimmy Cook, could not have wished for a better debut in Test cricket. He scored a century against England while playing alongside the mighty Hashim Amla, who also smashed 109 before being bowled. So no real surprise in that Stephen Cook is the man trending this afternoon as well. If you've missed anything on eNews Direct, by the way, our website is now live. You can go and watch the entire show, or if you've missed previous episodes, by going to eNCA.com/direct. Now, while you're there, do yourself a favor as well. We always pick the top trending stories on our website, and this is the one: heavily armed men rob a petrol station. Go and take a look at that on eNCA.com.
Money matters now, and South Africa's delegation is not the only one facing a tough sell at the World Economic Forum in Davos. China's also been trying to convince world leaders and investors that its recent economic woes are only temporary.
Chinese Vice President Li Wanchao told leaders at the World Economic Forum that the world's second largest economy is still on track. Li says China has entered into a steady growth phase instead of the accelerated growth of more than 7% it enjoyed in the past years. At the start of the year, Chinese markets suspended trade after a huge sell-off in Shanghai. Fast-trading individual investors dumped shares in China on further evidence that its economy was slowing and that Beijing was weakening the country's currency. This resulted in a negative effect on emerging market currencies like the rand. The delegation says the slowing down is expected since it's trying to diversify its economy. Despite the recent slump, China's economic growth of 6.9% is still higher than most economies. Another positive for the Asian giants is its bulging middle class that's seen consumption in the country grow by 66.4%. China also has a thriving business market. Last year, over 12,000 newly registered companies emerged across the country. International Monetary Fund head Christine Lagarde called for calm in the face of recent volatility. The IMF is forecasting a 6.5% growth rate in 2016.
U.S. oil giant Chevron is selling 75% of its South African business. Chevron produces 110,000 barrels a day in the country. Now, the company says the move is in line with a 3-year asset sales program that announced in 2014. Chevron President Mark Nelson says this is also part of its 247 billion rand divestment plan. Besides the Cape Town refinery, Chevron also has interests in a lubricants plant in Durban. Its network of Caltex service stations makes it one of South Africa's top 5 petroleum brands. Chevron has already disposed of several assets in Africa's top crude exporter, Nigeria. And with that, let's see how the markets performed today. Let's check in with the Weather Center now. Here's Louis.
Hello everyone, the weekend is upon us, so let's take a look at Saturday's weather conditions. And the cloudy and wet weather will continue across much of the interior. Scattered to widespread thunder showers are likely to develop in the afternoon along the Drakensberg and the Mpumalanga Highveld. For the Lowveld, on the other hand, dry weather continues and it's going to be another hot day in the area with temperatures rising into the mid-30s. Your detailed provincial forecast, and KwaZulu-Natal can expect some very wet weather to develop around the Drakensberg. Not as much rainfall near the coastline. Richards Bay will even remain dry. It will be a wet day for some parts of the Eastern Cape, especially for the interior. A few light showers could reach the coastline. East London reaches a high of 28 degrees. In the Western Cape, dry weather conditions continue from Langebaan through to Hermanus. Thunder showers possible once again for the Karoo, where Oudtshoorn reaches a high of 36. And it will be a dry day for Alexander Bay and Springbok, but the wet weather continues for the rest of the Northern Cape, particularly for the eastern parts. And in the Free State, temperatures will be a couple of degrees higher than they were on Friday. Scattered showers and thunder showers will be possible once again, and similar conditions expected for the northwest, where most areas will rise into the low 30s in the afternoon. A couple of very isolated thunder showers reaching some parts of Limpopo. Morning drizzle for Tsenin, but as I've mentioned, it will be a dry day in the Lowveld, and scattered to widespread thunder showers likely on the Mpumalanga Highveld in the afternoon. 26 degrees as a maximum for Secunda. In Gauteng, there will be a 60% chance for thunder showers in the south, but isolated in the north. Johannesburg gets to a high of 28 on your Saturday afternoon. Let's look further ahead to the second half of the weekend, and it remains wet for parts of the Highveld on Sunday, but cloudy and cooler weather starts to settle into Cape Town with an approaching cold front. And that cold front will move through on Monday, spreading rain along the south coast, while drier air pushes into the central parts, including the Free State and the northwest.
Right, here's what's coming up after the break. More stars see red over the Oscars too white. So will you be boycotting the Oscars next month, and should Chris Rock still host the event?
And those are the two big questions doing the rounds in Hollywood today. The lack of diversity at the Academy Awards has become a burning issue.
Now, the hashtag Oscars So White campaign is gaining momentum.
Some dream of changing the world.
Diversity in Hollywood under question.
But there is one night we all dream in gold.
Let's let the Academy do them.
Just when you thought Jada Pinkett Smith has heard her say.
And let's do us.
And Janet Hubert, aka Aunt Viv, has had her comeback.
Does your man not have a mouth of his own with which to speak?
Pinkett Smith's husband and concussion star Will Smith has also announced he won't attend this year's Oscars.
This is so deeply not about me.
The Academy is conceded, saying they need to do more, better and more quickly. Acclaimed director Spike Lee also weighed in, saying the 20 contenders under the actors category are white. Even Quincy Jones, who's set to present an award, wants to use his few minutes to teach the Academy a thing or two about diversity. US rapper 50 Cent and actor Tyrese are calling on this year's host Chris Rock to do the right thing. As for the comedy host himself, this is all he's prepared to post. His brother Tony wants Rock to continue.
I don't think he shouldn't do it.
As the days to the big night draw closer, what will it be for you at home? Hashtag Oscar So White or Dreaming in Gold? Let us know on our social media platform. Nontabeko Sbisi, Johannesburg.
A reminder now of the day's top stories before we say goodbye. Government acknowledges that high food prices and job losses are likely as the drought intensifies. A dark weekend ahead in parts of Ekurhuleni as several substations catch fire. And that's a wrap from the eNews Direct team.
That's correct. We'll be back on Monday. Up next, your favorite drama, Rhythm City.
Remember, you can share your views with us. Do send us an email to enewsdirect@etv.co.za.
Or talk to us on Twitter and Facebook, and our handle is @eNewsDirect.
Indeed. See you on Monday. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.